Hello YouTube, this is Survival Guy and I'm Guy. Today I'm going to do a video. I'm going to title this video 357 or not 357. That is the question. I was at a gun show a couple weeks ago, a little longer than that. I met a really nice young couple. They were in their early 20s. She was probably 20, 105 pounds wringing wet and 6 to 7 months pregnant. Just cute as a button. And I was standing at a table and they walked up and this fella was talking to him and he had a gun in his hand. I couldn't see what it was. So the fellow they were talking to, he turned around and walked off the other end of the table and was talking to somebody else because the guy only offered him $75 for this handgun. And you can tell it just hurt the kid's feeling terrible. And he turned around and walked off, and I kind of walked over to him a little bit closer, and I said, "What you got?" And he reached over and held out a Smith & Wesson 357 police issue pistol. He said it was his dad's. He'd passed away and he got it. And to have somebody tell me that a memory of my father was only worth $75, it had just deflated me too. But I asked him, I says, "Well, why you want to get rid of that gun?" He says, "Well, a friend of mine got a new Glock, and he can get 30-round clips for it." And I said, "Oh, here we go." And I said, "Well, they're not clips, they're magazines." And he said, "Oh, well, they said clips." And I said, "Well, they're considered magazines." And I didn't want to go into an actual history lesson at that particular time, so I left it alone. And I kind of looked at him and I says, "Well, what are you going to use it for?" And he says, "Well, we're having a baby." And I kind of looked at him. I said, "Well, you think?" And she had this big grin from ear to ear. And I says, "Well, hey, let's do this." I said, "She looks tired. Let's go over and get a soda, and I'll buy a soda for you." And they both kind of looked at each other and like, what's going on here? Like nobody's ever been nice to them. So anyway, we went over and sat down at the table. And as we were walking by, lo and behold, I looked down at the table and there sits another Smith & Wesson, just about the same as his. Well, the guy had a tag on it because I looked at it. It was $305. And I kind of nudged him and pointed at it, and he had this kind of grin on his face after that. So obviously the memory of his father was now worth $300 instead of $75. So anyway, we sat down at the table, and we got to talking, and I said, "That 357 you have there is a good weapon." He says, "I know, but I can't shoot it enough." And I said, "What do you mean enough?" "Well, my friend, he can shoot 30 rounds at a time." And I asked him, and I said, "How many rounds do you need?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "All you need is one." I said, "Any more than one or two and you're being wasteful." And he kind of thought for a minute. So obviously somebody had some upbringing that they spent some time and taught their children something. And I brought up the fact. I said, we started in the pros and cons, automatics versus wheel guns. That's the revolvers. I said, with that semi-automatic you've got there, they have a tendency of jamming. And if it jams, you got to eject the magazine. You have to eject the round that's in the chamber. If it's not stuck, you have to put the magazine back in and recock the weapon before you shoot it. Unless you are in the movies, it's going to take you a good 10 seconds, maybe 7, to do that, if you practiced it. Now my revolver, I've only got 6 rounds, true. But most magazines on pistols anymore are either 15 or 10 rounds, depending on the state that you live in. So 6 versus 10, yeah, you got an extra 4, but that's still not going to buy you a lot of time. That revolver is not going to go off by itself. It's not going to happen. It's got a built-in safety with that hammer's back. When that hammer's back, That's the only way that that's going to go off. It will never jam. Ever, ever, ever jam. And if I do have a misfire on a weapon, I can pull the trigger again and it shoots. Unless you've got crap ammo and then you're dead anyway. But needless to say, we went through this conversation. And they got to talking about possibility of prepping. And he said, well, we've kind of been putting some stuff away. And I said, well, what are you doing? He was kind of reluctant to talk. Smart kid. So basically I told him, well, I prepped too. Well, after that was said, then the conversation got a little easier for him. He says, well, we're just getting started. We've been watching videos on YouTube. And I thought, okay. And I said, who are you watching? He says, well, he started spitting out names stuff, people I've never heard of. I says, well, Southern Prepper 1 puts out some really good videos. You got Engineer 775, he puts out some really good videos. You got Patriot Nurse, she puts out some really good videos. I said, Canadian Prepper puts out some really good videos. Prepper Princess, if you are prepping on low bucks, low dollars and cents, watch her stuff because she has got some good ideas. And as soon as I get myself established, I want to contact her anyway because I like her. She's got my mentality, old school. But needless to say, they were talking about watching. I told them these are ones that I watch. And I told them, I says, I'm getting ready to start my own channel. And I says, I've been prepping for 20 plus years. Longer than that, I grew up that way. And they just kind of had that grin. And I said, I've been prepping longer than you've been alive. And then she really got to grinning. So we were back talking to weapons, and she kind of looked over. She said, well, that guy over there at that table said we should get a 12-gauge shotgun. I'm thinking to myself, she's 105 pounds with child. You put a 12-gauge shotgun in her hands, she pulls the trigger, her butt's going to be on the ground, and she's never, ever, ever going to want to touch a weapon again. I had this happen to well, would have been a daughter-in-law, but they put a 12-gauge in her hand, she pulled the trigger, she ended up on her butt. And they just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And it took me forever to get her to put a weapon back in her hand and pull the trigger. And I don't want anybody to ever have to go through that. And for one, it's humiliating, and it's unsafe putting a weapon in somebody's hands who has no idea what's going to happen. So I went down the rabbit trail and down the rabbit hole on that one, so we'll get back on task here. So anyway, we were talking about weapons, and I told him, I said, that weapon that you have right there, you already own it. You're not going to have to go into debt to buy anything else. I said, it fires two types of ammunition, 357 and 38. I said, the best thing in the world if you can find a weapon or weapons that fire the same ammunition. I've got a 9mm Beretta 92S. I've got a 92A1 as well. And then I've got a Beretta Storm, and it fires in 9mm. And then my friend's got a Beretta 40, and his is a 40 Storm, so they've got that. Well, my 357s, I also have rifles, lever action rifles that fire the 357 and the 38s. Well, for me, that's a good deal because I can have one or two types of ammunition and have multiple guns that use the same ammunition. So in a survival situation, for me, that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, I've got my long range rifle that I shoot is a 223. I'm accurate up to 300 yards because that's my long range shooting. When we shoot at about 300 yards. Where we actually have our camp, if you will please, or our location where we bug out to, 300 yards is an extremely long shot because there is no, with all the trees and whatever else, you're not going to get a clear shot at anything less than 150 yards. So I feel pretty good about shooting double of what you need to. So I told them about what we did there and how we did it and why we did it. And they went away with a whole different perspective. So needless to say, he kept his 357. He's going to learn how to shoot it. He's going to get proficient with it. And later on, if he chooses to buy another weapon, at least I know, and he will have the mental capacity that he has a weapon that he can shoot and be proficient with. So that's my spiel for today. We'll don't forget to subscribe to blah blah blah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Well, there you go, Gary and Janet. That was for you. Uh, I really appreciate the email. That was really, really nice of you. Uh, it was fun talking to you. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I could help. Uh, like I said, if you got any other questions or whatever, send me that email. Put it down in the likes there. If you've got something else you want me to talk about, I will. Uh, that's basically it. So, see you next time.